Welcome back. We have one more series for you this evening. I'm Ilios, back with Wolf. We're ready to dive into a Chinese showdown. This is going to be the Shanghai Dragons going up against the Guangzhou Charge. These two teams getting ready to clash twice in a row. Once now, then again next week in Atlanta.
That's right. So this is going to be a pretty pivotal series. Not just this series, but the series of two matches they will play against each other. Dragons currently up at 3-1, Charge at the 2-2. They will need to win both matches against the Shanghai Dragons. Because they're at a neutral 0 in terms of map differential, they love to get as much maps as they can, but they don't necessarily need to 4-0 these. I mean, they're just one step behind, right? Defeating the Dragons will put them also closer in terms of that comparison there. So they're certainly still in it. And if they can upset the Dragons twice, that would be massive.
Not out yet, but on the cusp of it. Upsetting the Dragons is going to be a really difficult thing. Ding and DM have been absolutely instrumental for this squad, and the Dragons as a whole is kind of the team that's been propelling the meta in the direction that it's currently in.
Yeah, they are the best duo right now in terms of Widow Pharah together, regardless of which composition it is. In this case, we are seeing the Wrecking Ball variation. We know they could run it with the Sombra that we're seeing on Volskaya, for example. Very terrifying. But on the other side here for the Guangzhou Charge, you can see that in Stage 3 it shot up in terms of the Sombra usage here. They've got Eileen on their squad, so definitely a boon for them potentially. And generally speaking, when you look at the across the board stats here, you can see that some of the heroes that are really meta right now are heroes that have been playing all season long. Widowmaker, you know, only shooting up about 9% there. The Pharah as well. Doubling, but you know, compared to most teams, they're running it barely at all. So just like Shanghai, kind of running the Pharah early with Hot Boss. So I think this is going to be a very exciting clash of Widow v Widow, Pharah v Pharah, and this is going to be a kind of a weirder mirror. Not the 3-3, not the Sombra Goats, but we will see, I think, a lot of Pharah versus Pharah.
Yeah, I mean, Widow as well. Always happy to see Happy on that. Time will tell if we get that matchup between him and DM. But first, let's go ahead and bring out our first squad to the stage. They're looking for their second appearance in the playoffs. Let's go ahead and bring them out. It's the Shanghai Dragons.
The Dragons are the first team to master the Pharah Widowmaker variations that we're seeing so popular right now in triple and quad DPS in this meta here for Stage 3. They come in as favorites in this series and the series we will see in Atlanta next week. To win this one would set the precedent that they would soar to the top of the Stage 3 rankings and guarantee themselves a spot in those playoffs.
Yep, taking a look at the starting 6 here, we'll see Envy coming out for the Shanghai Dragons, his first appearance with the squad. A little bit of a lack of synergy, a bit of underperformance there, but understandable given that he had just only recently join the roster, so we'll see how he fares today against their opponents. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Guangzhou Charge.
Happy Widowmaker player for the team, and Zarya walking out here with Nero as well. Face that's gotten a lot of attention in recent times in this meta. Now, of course, of age 18 to play in the Overwatch League, and it's making waves early on. And it's a meta that suits both of these players, and Hotba as well. The flexibility, this former flex tank player from multiple rosters as far back as, you know, LW Red. He's played the Zarya, he's played the D.Va, he's played the Roadhog, but now also going into that Pharah role, just like Fury of the London Spitfire. Super flexible, and that is what is so important right now in this ever-changing meta.
Taking a look here at Happy. Gonna have to be the one that can shut down DM on that Widowmaker, should he be pulling it out. We can expect, just given the trajectory of the meta and how much we've been seeing of that Widowmaker, that at some point during this series, these guys should be able to have a bit of a showdown.
It was mentioned in that card that he is a former teammate of Envy, both played for the Meta organization. This is, of course, after Envy was released from LA Valiant, so very briefly played for Meta at the same time that Happy was playing for the Bella side of things, right before, of course, joining Toronto. So, former teammates, not in the most direct sense, but very briefly played on the same org.
Well, taking a look at the map set presented by Toyota, we'll be starting things off on Ilios, then we'll move into Paris for Assault, Hollywood for Hybrid, and Gibraltar for Escort. So plenty of opportunities strewn throughout that I see where a Widowmaker battle could come to the surface.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of teams on Ilios right now are starting the Widow for safety and then matching into the Reinhardt Ghost variation. Not the Winston one as much. We did see it on Ruins just previously in our last series fail. Hopefully they were able to take it in the end, but heading into this first point, it is going to be Lighthouse, so this is a great place to run the Pharah. And Shanghai wants to run the Widow variation. Happy will match. So this is what we were looking for. This is what we expected to see quite a lot throughout the series. We're going to get it right out of the gates.
Yep, straight away. Happy up here on this high ground. That first shot now, just waiting for somebody to come into his sights. Nero taking to the skies as well. Trying to stay alive. So far, just a smattering of damage exchanged across. Point getting ready to unlock in 3 seconds, but no one's really advanced over towards that side of the map. They're looking for that opening pick. Envy playing up onto the point. Finds himself in a 2v1 situation, and DM actually gonna be taken down by Nero of all people. Now Ding finds Shu. So a kill apiece here for the Pharah. Sting up into the air, trying to survive. Interception there from Coma. Helps Sting stay alive for a little bit longer, but Nero's hot on his heels, and the rocket goes through, gets rid of that Mercy. Guangzhou come up with the first couple picks, but it's the Dragons who lock down the point.
Yep, they're gonna have to, you know, collapse in. That's a huge pick, and you can't really compete now as Nero.
Oh, DM, he didn't know which way to look. They were much closer than he'd anticipated. Will get cut down, as does Luffy. Shu gonna be eliminated. EMP comes out from Envy, manages to find two. Hotba and Rio manages to find the former. Rio just gonna be playing into the back of the point, looking for that cap to roll in.
Ding
He'll
tries
be able to find it.
He's just too late. They will get it back, but a few percentage points will be given over. The Dragon's still in full control now. As long as they can shut down this EMP, it's not going to be support ultimates that let that happen. It's going to be a pick, or it is going to have to be more aggressive play in general for the Dragons. You can see how far up they're playing.
Happy getting pressured here from the low ground, jumps up the grapple hook, and Nero is taken out by DM.
That's the pick I'm talking about.
Yep, and now you get the pile driver through. Happy trying to stay alive, Bionade. There'll be enough burst healing to keep him in the fight, but Chara going to be taken down. Happy able to equalize, finishing off one of the Dragons' supports. The Dragons still in control of this point, still playing far forward. EMP used by Hotba, but he's going to be the first one that gets taken down afterward. Shu nearly knocked off the map, taking a lot of damage here from Guangzhou at range. Tries to stay alive, the pistol out from Coma, trying to find the kill, but the Mega Pack was there, and Ding gets taken down in the meantime.
The EMP is ineffective, and they are just... I honestly struggling to regroup. That's the biggest problem for the Charge right now. They're not able to get into a unit that can divide and conquer. Nero's down now, and I mean,
Yep.
You're always fighting a losing battle down members. You do have to,
he's got the emphasize.
I mean, I think we have to start making the argument. This might be the best Widowmaker player in the world we're watching right now.
I mean, he did win the 1v1 at the All-Star Weekend. Obviously not going to be the largest pool, but DM has always made a very strong case for himself. And given the performances that he's been able to put up as of late, I don't think that anyone could really fault you for putting him in the running. Still taking some pot shots here, trying to find a target. The wrecking ball, not the one he wants, but Hotba taken down. Now pressure coming through, perfect sleep dart. Now the bio in, DM gets the double kill alongside the help of Luffy. 99% the flip does come through here for just at least a moment for the side of the Guangzhou Charge, but instantly the recap coming in from the Shanghai Dragons. Shots flying through from Happy, but Ding takes him down. OT starting to tick away. DM up into the air, but does not matter. He's just gonna say, oh, you know what? I don't need to kill you. The round is over.
If you can see it, you can kill it. DM is the Grim Reaper right now. If he sees ahead, he's going to take it off. And when there's not enough disruption on the other side with the enemy Pharah and Widow, you're going to have free reign. You're going to have line of sight. Rio getting caught, often dying first. It's a big problem. Papa's this time on the Sombra, right? We've got Nero in on the Pharah, so he doesn't have to flex as much. He can go back to a more normal role for himself on the Sombra. Meanwhile, the reason why we have Envy in this lineup right now is because his hero pool overlaps with what they're trying to do. Ding has a great Pharah, a great Sombra, right? But Envy's also a good Sombra. He played it for Toronto earlier this year, even as far back as the Season 1 playoffs. So you've got 3 players who are masters of their roles here on the Shanghai Dragons, but DM and Ding, their duo is overpowering Nero and Happy, and that's why you see this mismatch in this one-sided match so far.
Oh,
look at this.
Fara's up over the top. Ding finds that direct hit. Nero
Double
now going to be
block
hacked out. Oh, pop up in the air. Another one on the Happy. Can't quite lock him down. One more shot would have done it, but Chara with a pocket manages to keep him alive, and now Ding is going to be grounded as that hack comes through, but he is still killing them. Gets the double. Takes them down. DM in the meantime still just sniping casually. Looking for the hits there on the Happy, can't quite find it, but Shanghai, again, in control of the point first.
DM and Ding both 1,000 damage, the leaders to their counterparts on the Guangzhou charge for this round. Line of sight control to DM as well. It's hard to be a Pharah against this when you're having to be the attacker. Single time exposing yourself could be the death of you.
Yep. Pile driver's just flying through. DM staying up top as long as he possibly can. Hops up to the sides for a target. Rez comes through onto Ding, puts him back into the fight. Guangzhou charge still unable to find any sort of cap. Flip here onto this point. Happy just trying to get Ding out of the sky, but just hasn't had that much luck of it. Gamsu taking a nap. We'll take one to the dome, pops an adaptive shield briefly, and we'll just be zipping his way out. Need more follow-up, not just a Widowmaker to try to take him down, but look, that a Widow can handle.
Yep, Happy finding the angles now, and control is shifting back to the charge here.
Gamsu taken low, Envy bioed out, has to retreat, so the flip does come through. Charge finally on the board.
Really great job by Nero to operate around this building that you can see them standing on and avoid most of the Widow sightlines while getting that damage done. That's what really turned things around for them. It's only, you know, a brief moment. They took it back. That's all it takes.
Oh, okay. Mid grapple, why not? Like he said, if he can see him, he'll kill him. Never side up just makes it that much easier for DM, but we know that he doesn't even need that. Shots coming through, weakening up Nero, trying to get that headshot. Unable to find it, now Chara shooting across to the side, does escape safely, but the point has gone back into control of the Shanghai Dragons.
It's important to note in this Widow versus Widow, which we're going to see for a lot of this series, that DM is nearly doubling scoped critical accuracy right now, 32 to 17. So he's getting more headshots, he's able to capitalize on more moments. Like Caster cursed him here, the headshot comes through from Happy.
Yeah, does get taken down there. EMP out from Hotbot, manages to catch a couple. Pharmacy going to be taken out of the sky. Nero able to scoop those kills. Now looking for Gamsu. Soften him up, take some down below half HP, and with the hack, seems like they might just be able to kill him off. Sliver of HP still remaining for Gamsu, but you can tell he wants to give that healing over to Coma and Luffy, not pick up any mega packs or whatnot.
I think the Dragons will operate around the EMP barrage. Ding should hold that unless he gets a mega opportunity while approaching the point and trying to bait out ultimates from the charge. They've already got the Infra Sight, which is a huge impact ultimate in Widow versus Widow, and Pharah versus Pharah for that matter.
Rio well into the back. Helps take that DM now. Barrage out from Nero, gets rid of Coma, but he manages to find the kill, and DM is res back through from Coma.
That's actually a huge set of kills for the Dragons. They might be able to start unlocking this point now. It should not have happened. Overextension by Nero there.
Pile driver down. Get some hits in. Happy. Completely body blocked in. Gets taken down by Gamsu. Now Shanghai capping the point. 74% here for the Guangzhou charge. Still ticking up. Ding taken low. Again, the pocket comes through. He pushes into the back. Chara now going to be eliminated. Bionate onto 2. Shrew. It's taken down. Hotbot now eliminated as well. Ding scoops up some extra kills, and we are above 90% for the Shanghai Dragons. Still holding on to 4 ultimates with the Infra Sight running currently.
Yeah, the EMP barrage is huge. Rio will touch here, but it's going to be short-lived, the contest. He has to swing around and come back one more time. Now the charge can come back, but there's the EMP.
Push over the side, the nano boost coming through, but Ding not able to find the target that he wants. Up over the top, gets a direct hit there on a Hotbot. DM taken down in the meantime. Shanghai still in control, the OT still starting to tick away. Push up over the top, a bit too elusive is Happy for him. Still playing this one patiently, comes back around. Continues to take some damage, Happy trying to finish him off. Pops up, finds nothing, Shu gonna fall. Flip still getting closer and closer as Ding gets eliminated by Nero. DM gets rid of him, and that'll just be the closeout. Shanghai Dragons able to take it in the end. They step off just for a second. Guangzhou charge, looking like maybe they could have gotten that flip there, but Shanghai, they put a win on the board.
And just to keep an eye on the temperature gauge here, the scoped critical hit accuracy, 32 for DM to 14 of Happy. He is crushing the Widow versus Widow, and that is going to be very likely the defining factor in this series. Happy's going to have to shape up. Nero's going to have to get a little bit more crossfire on the Pharah.
Well, let's see if the Guangzhou Charge can find their groove on Assault when we come back after the break.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back. We're getting ready to go into our second map of this series. So far, Shanghai able to lead 1-0 after a 2-0 victory on Ilios. And, I mean, DM really just coming out on top of Happy there with that Widow 1v1. Well, 1v1 in quotations. But either way, he was putting up some serious numbers.
The thing about the Widow 1v1, as you say, is it's never really a 1v1 in professional play unless it's all-star show match or something like that. But look at the accuracy here, 32%. Again, more than double his opponent. It's a 2v2 actually, more than anything else in this matchup though, because it's you and your Pharah versus their Widow and their Pharah. There's a lot of other things going on. There's the Sombra, right? There's the Wrecking Ball. When you're fighting a losing battle, your scoped crit accuracy is going to go down. Your hero damage is going to go down with it. Your deaths are going to go up. But it's not because you're getting completely crushed by your opponent every time. It's often, the stats will be influenced by losing a map. But to have that big of a disparity, 32 to 14, you're not really blaming your Pharah anymore for not causing further disruption on DM. You're not blaming your Wrecking Ball player, Rio, for not causing enough disruption because you're just not hitting the same amount of shots given those opportunities as DM is. And when DM is taking heads after heads off, he's killing the support line, he's knocking the Pharah out of the sky, he's knocking the Mercy out of the sky, then it just becomes a moot point. You can't 1v2 the Pharah and the Widow as Happy in those cases.
Yeah, I mean, scrappy overall, but Shanghai consistently coming out on top of those exchanges. Youngjin will be subbing in for DM, so for now we'll have to put a halt to those Widowmaker festivities.
Yeah, we're going to have to pause that one for now.
But Youngjin coming in doesn't mean that the fun stops. We know that Youngjin's got a rather deep hero pool as well, as so him alongside Ding can still lead to some pretty extravagant team compositions, especially on a map like Paris.
Yep, so Youngjin usually plays McCree when we're talking about Paris. He's got a pretty big hero pool, as you mentioned, and they will attack first. So there's been a rise of Pharah compositions. This map is not as good as Volskaya for that, as we were talking about earlier. But you might want Youngjin here just in case for that, McCree specifically. And then if you scout that it's something else, you can swap off. Guangzhou Charge is going to be running the Orisa Junkrat setup. Even though Envy's in the lineup and they do have a strong diva, this is very different than what we saw earlier with Dallas, where crushed. Ooh! There you go. That's how you get that scope depth.
Well, there's that kill. Rez is there, puts Youngjin back into the fight, but he's happy with a nice little boost up towards that infra site.
He's going to play Brigitte in this composition with the Sombra Goats. It's the Winston variation, though, actually. Very unusual to see a lot of success on attack with this. You know, it's
unusual to see the Dragons running this comp at all.
Yeah, it's been a while. And the comp the Charge are running is actually very strong against this, too. You have a lot of disruption for the Winston. And you can sleep him, you can blow him up with the Junkrat mines.
Yep. You know that he's going to want to pop up there onto that high ground, try to get as much cleave as humanly possible with the Tesla cannon, so have that trap prepared. See Nero's traps are getting cleared out, which means that Guangzhou can go ahead and leap up to the top side. Bionade connects onto one. Youngjin taken down to about half HP, and Luffy hacked for the moment. Playing this one a little bit slower here. They start pushing up onto the high ground. Guangzhou going to be taken down. Bionade from Shu manages to find Luffy. Finds some nice kills, and oh man, Youngjin pulled back in by Rio and taken down. So a very nice start to this hold by the Guangzhou Charge.
Junkrat Orisa was a really common counter to old Winston 3-3 in Korea and in other regions as well in contenders. It's very powerful, very difficult to break. You know, when you have to go onto the high ground with anything like what Shanghai's running, even though they have Winston, the whole team can't join him on the high ground. It's really only the Winston, the D.Va, and the Lucio that gets up there. And everyone else has to wrap around. And when you only have one choke, you take so much damage on the entry.
Shot still coming through. Kalma gonna get picked. And that just sets up for more heads to roll here. Happy takes off Youngjin, so they clean it up again.
Happy didn't even need to use that infra site there, but you know, it's going to build pretty quickly in a situation like this. For the Dragons, you know, they don't have big impactful ultimates yet online, and they still have to go through this choke. They're still going to eat that damage from Nero, and he may even decide to Riptire here. That's going to be the first ult you want to use when things start to look like, you know, the Dragons might actually touch or might be about to ult. They've got that Riptire for safety. They've got the EMP to pair with it. They just want to use as few ultimates as possible. The Riptire is the easiest way to do that.
Stacked here at the moment. Nano, leap coming through for Guangzhou. Gets up here onto the high ground. EMP still waiting. Hoppa trying to find the perfect moment. Bubbles in. Ding trying to stay alive. Luffy manages to find Shu. That's one crucial opening now for the side of the Shanghai Dragons as he tried to make their way over onto the point. Happy nearly eliminated. Pushes his way into the back. Tire forward. Finds Youngjin. Kalma taken down just beforehand. Nero does get punished by using that ultimate. And Rio's going to get knocked off the side of the map. A dangerous spot to be in when you're playing against a primal raged Winston. Guangzhou manages to find that kill. Luffy, however, still going to get picked. Pocket comes forward, rather, from Char to try to keep the Widow alive, but he will get punished for that. Happy's going to be taken down. It seems like the Dragons finally breaking through onto A to get the cap.
Perhaps it was greed, you know. There's two ways this could have gone, you know, for the Charge as to why they didn't use their ultimates quickly. One might have been greed. They thought they could, with that opening pick from Shu, you know, survive without using ultimates so they could keep them. And the other factor might have been fear. If we use our ultimates and fail this defense after we're losing it, we will most certainly lose B to Graviton Surge that's about to come online and all the other ultimates for the Dragons.
Sure.
I'm leaning towards fear as to why they saved ults and waited so long, but it was a little bit of indecision that cost them a lot here.
Well, either way, doesn't mean that they have an Nano, they have an EMP to try to hold off this push. Sound barrier, grab, now rally rolling here for the Shanghai Dragons. They're pushing their way through onto B. Just shy of 4 minutes here on the clock. Nano boost goes forward. Charged up for the moment, manages to stay alive. Happy. Gonna build up that energy. It's above 75. They boop Guangzhou over to the side, take him down. Someone circles out from Envy, looks for a pick, unable to find one. Will make it back into the back. Happy stunned up and hounded down. Will be eliminated. Getting closer and closer to that Graviton Surge, speaking of which, Ding is going to be using his own. Comes up with a double kill, a triple now, as they shut him out. The team wipe completed. Shanghai Dragons turning that one seemingly on its head. Seemed like after Guangzhou got eliminated that maybe Guangzhou Charge could hold them off, but the Shanghai Dragons, they pushed through.
Tough to swap late like that after you fail your ult usage on A. You're defending against a team that's got the grab. You just swapped down on ultimate. Still, pretty weak time bank for Paris, all things considered. They could certainly turn this around, Guangzhou Charge, with a good time on A.
Well, we'll have to see how they fare on the attack. 3:23, the time to beat.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
And welcome back. It is time for the Guangzhou Charge to go on the offensive here. 3:23, the time to beat by the Shanghai Dragons. Of course, match of the week coming up tomorrow, though. A banger. You don't want to miss it. LA Gladiators going up against the Vancouver Titans.
I think if you've been paying attention to the Titans in recent times, you actually have to favor the Gladiators going into that series.
I mean, given the compositions that we've been seeing from them, you know, it definitely could sway into their favor. I mean, attack Bastion on Lunar Colony just yesterday from Sure 4. The Torbjorn on defense, you know, he's pulling out the crazy stuff and he's making it work.
Well, heading into this craziness, which is this match, we are going to see the Pharah matchup at least locked in for the moment. Guangzhou has the opportunity to change and counter it, and they will do exactly that. They put Nero on the McCree. The same reason why Youngjin is here. It's because, you know, to have that counter comp potentially, they are going to swap and put Happy in instead, which is going to be another great way to shut down the Pharah. And they know that they choose this way, they choose the Widow, because they know there's no Widow on Shanghai's side with DM on the bench here. So you have free reign versus the Pharah here as Widow, and you have the ability to threaten supports while not having to worry about an enemy Widow. But,
well, you don't have to worry about Ting's Pharah, it would seem. Hotba will be coming out of the Pharah, Nero swapping over onto that Hanzo for the double sniper and a little bit more shield break onto these Orisa barriers. Trying to get that knock off the high ground, but can't quite find it.
It's not always advantageous Widow versus Pharah. It can go both ways, depending on where the sight lines are. Happy's going to play a little bit safer now in this room here where he cannot be hit by the Pharah rockets. It limits what he can hit as well. As you can see, he's basically shooting at an Orisa barrier or a concrete wall.
Yeah. It's never really fun as a Widow. Gamsu getting tagged up a bit. Youngjin playing down on the ground by himself. Gotta be careful making these hits. Arrows flying through from Nero, really weakening him up. So needs to allow for that barrier, his shield, to go ahead and regen. So on down to 89 HP remaining. Barrage is online. Hotba a little bit further away. Oh, but the sleep coming in. Ting trying to escape, but he actually makes it out alive and kills Shu in the process.
Huge plays by Koma to make sure that happened. Luffy as well, left clicking in there. An incredible save on this Pharah player who is doing so much work. Happy can't even expose himself to try to counter the Pharah because he can't get line of sight. If he pokes out, he's putting himself at risk of getting shot by Gamsu, Ding, and Luffy all at the same time. Nero can't find much damage through the barrier. The Charge have their ultimates coming online right now. But I mean, look at this.
Yeah, Halt in, Rio is getting battered around. Hard to finish him off though, but Pack is in.
Don't forget, this is
him up.
Also a diva-less composition for the Charge, so Ding has free reign with this barrage with the positional advantage he has right now.
Push, aggressive push forward here from Hotba, nano boost in
Both
on
sides.
to that Pharah. Youngjin gonna be taken down right as he gets the rally available. Barrage getting dropped in though, Ding manages to find 2. Now just has to try to make it out alive. Will be able to do so. Hotba only able to find 1. Reses up for both of these Anas to put them back into the fight, but it's still going to be the advantage here for the Shanghai Dragons.
It's tough, you know, with this Orisa barrier here for Happy to have a huge impact on this Widow. He's done a little bit of damage, but he's not able to get the kills he's looking for.
We're down under a minute now remaining for this push. EMP still held here by Envy, Supercharger, as well as the rally. Push around the corner, Rio and Shu both gonna get hacked, both gonna be taken down. Even the Supercharger just didn't stand a chance.
Delete the Rio Orisa shield with the EMP and blow him up.
Hoppa, okay, yep, there's the 2-tap.
I mean, this fight was already over. Hoppa was just trying to get a little bit more barrage charge there in the interim, but now he's staggered himself. And the Dragons are going to put Youngjin onto the Hawk because they know this is going to be a Hail Mary from the charge coming through. They've got one more shot at this, and they're swapping over to Winston Goats for it. Here we go.
Yep, trying to get back over to the point. You can see just how slow Youngjin is with that Roadhog. Guangzhou dropping the barrier and the Supercharger. Looks for Rio, he'll deny on him, and he gets killed mid-leap. Takes him down. Sleep does connect in, but Ding is there. Pushes forward, gets right in over top of Shu. Says, you know what? They can't sleep me now. Gets the kill, and now looks for Hanpa. A little bit more. Yep, there you go. Finishes him off. No one can tag the point and force out OT. And Shanghai Dragons come up with another victory here now on Paris, and now 2-0.
Ding helps shut down another set of Widow play from Happy. And you got to wonder, going into the rest of the series, if we're going to keep seeing that mirror, should he be playing the Widow or should they try to do something else, because they are getting outclassed in the Pharah matchup very hard right now.
Well, have the halftime break to try to gather themselves and see if they can pull off a reverse sweep when we come back.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
I started watching some streams of the pros, and the pros were amazing. And one of the biggest guys I saw was awesome was Hydration. He was part of the Gladiators.
Suddenly I'm at every game, and
the beautiful LEDs, the cheers of the crowd.
it shields up. It's thunderous applause. It's roaring in the arena. It's a lot of clap, clap, stomp, stomp. You just kind of get sucked into it.
And I've been hooked ever since.
Heroes never die. Cease your resistance.
I am taking the objective. Reinforce this position. My ultimate is charged. Hello there.
I am unstoppable. Огонь по готовности. Justice heroes never die. Justice reigns from above. Dein Schutzengel ist da.
The Dragons have looked great here in Stage 3, and they're keeping the good times rolling in this one. Up 2-0 over the Charge at the half. How's it going, everybody? It's your boy, back at it again in halftime. We got Sasha, we got Brent. Guys, You know, the Guangzhou Charge are known for their decorated compositions and just playing all types of crazy heroes, and many people thought that this could cause problems for the Shanghai Dragons today. But so far, the Dragons, they've looked pretty good.
I've never had any doubts. I believed in my Shanghai Dragons brethren.
Have you always, though? Because recently they've been looking a little bit sloppy.
They only looked sloppy against the LA Valiant, and this was part of the reason why I was casting a bit of doubt over your stats in the pre-show.
I'll let you on.
Bren was saying they were struggling against triple DPS comps. That was only against the Valiant.
He did say that. He did say that. All right, so let's go ahead and jump straight into the highlights. We're going to start with Ilios. So we got to see a lot of that DPS on display here.
Yeah, a huge amount of triple DPS versus triple DPS throughout this entire match.
I mean, a big part of this, I think Happy kind of had... we think of Happy, you think of one of the best Widowmakers in the game. We haven't seen too much of it because we've been seeing the triple support, but DM kind of had his number, honestly. DM was phenomenal in terms of the 1v1s individually, really doing a number on them.
The winner of our 1v1 mini tournament at All-Stars as well.
And here's the thing about Ding as well. This guy is unreal. You saw that clip just then. He gets hacked onto the floor. He knows his team are going to support him, so he can still pick up kills, even though he's just a walking potato spud on the ground.
Okay, well, that's one way of putting it, I suppose. They really have had Pharah domination. I'm going to break that down in a little bit as well. But that's what Wolf and Achilles were talking about, the fact that they're just outmatched in terms of that. Hopper, you know, he talked a big game coming into this, said that he's the best Sombra in the world.
Yeah,
he's been talked up for his Pharah and his Tracer as well, but they're not quite being able to meet the same level of DPS potency that the Dragons can put up. And this is one of the reasons that I rated them so highly. Yeah, they've lost to the Valiant, but Valiant are a great team right now.
Yeah, they're looking absolutely phenomenal. This was a weird map on Paris individually. Guangzhou, they had an opportunity to full health them. One slip up, one mistake. Shu ends up getting picked off by Luffy of all people, and the point just comes tumbling down. But they just, especially on the attack here, they didn't seem to have really a semblance of what they wanted to do at times. It's very uncoordinated, it's very messy. They've got Happy playing the Widowmaker. He occasionally gets a pick, but there's no follow-up and there's no real pressure being applied to them. So an odd one from Guangzhou Charge. Very winnable on that second.
It's funny you say it, an odd one associated with the Charge, because they're known for that oddity, right? They're known for being just crazy.
I meant odd as in they just didn't really know how to push.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, there you go. Odd as in they're not pressing the W button. All right, well, you know, there's a little bit more to unpack here in this matchup. You talked a little bit about some of the Pharah play, and I believe you have an Insights powered by Intel for us, Sideshow, correct?
I certainly do. It's an Insights powered by Intel, focusing on some of the fundamentals of Pharah gameplay. So I just want to run stuff through. It's not really about strategy, but just about how Ding plays.
Okay.
He's fantastic, and it's his movement that does it. You noticed him playing around that pillar to deny sightlines, then uses his concussion grenade. He's great at this. You're going to see another example. He drops down and looks at the floor and uses his concussion grenade. That pushes you forwards as Pharah and allows him to become incredibly aggressive. So he can go from playing tight angles where Happy can't find him to instantly being in Happy's face. Obviously gets hacked here, can't use any of his abilities. In this one as well, you'll see that he initially sees Happy, drops down behind, and then he's able to use his concussion blast by rocketing himself away from a wall. So multi-tool kind of part of Pharah's kit allows you to navigate the map. For the barrage here at the end, Barrage actually reloads your weapon as well, so he makes sure that he lands a bit of chip damage first before utilizing the barrage, and then is able to be at full ammo afterwards.
I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you another thing that he does as well.
All right.
Every single time Ding reloads, he animation cancels.
He cancels with a punch, doesn't he?
Yeah, every single time. And that is not particularly useful, I'm going to be honest with you, because there aren't that many times that you actually need to melee as a Pharah. But it hints to me that Ding's already honed so much of the fundamentals of his Pharah play that he's now just into the rhythm. Everything is fluid to him.
I will say as well, watching that and watching my gameplay when I play Pharah, it's
two different worlds.
Well, here's the thing, maybe I've just got a smooth brain, but when I'm playing Pharah, I kind of like associate the left click when I'm shooting with my spacebar movement, and I just run out of fuel and I drop like a rock almost instantly.
Obviously, you got to manage the fuel as well.
This is what happens when you're a diamond player, but like as you can see in Ding's case, he just seems to be permanently in the air. The guy's
I'm with you.
phenomenal.
So good
I'm with you though, Grim. My Pharah brain is pretty smooth as well, man. So how does the Charge get back into this thing, man?
I think clearly we're seeing a triple DPS versus triple DPS matchup here. And unless they can shut down Ding, they don't have a chance, I think. So it really is on Hopper and on Happy to step up and win the 1v1 matchups, I think. Or at least for them to put more pressure on him. Because Ding's so well supported as well.
The damage just needs to step up, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I can't argue that. We saw Happy kind of being dominated in the first map. The second map, their issue wasn't really individual 1v1s. It was more of positioning errors and stuff like that. It's small things that they need to fix up as well. I mean, the game, I think map 2, very winnable for Guangzhou Charge. I mean, this is still a close series in theory, and it can be.
All right, sounds like the Charge need to not get outplayed. Well, guys, that's going to do it for halftime. But before we go, coming into the season, Shu of the Guangzhou Charge was a rookie we all had our eyes on. He continued to shine bright as a bright spot for the Charge roster, so we got to sit down with him to get some tips and tricks how to help improve your support play at home. This is Game Set, provided by Omen by HP.
Shu gets one for the bloodthirsty Zenyatta's out there.
Ooh, there we go, Shu.
안녕하세요. 강저우 차지에서 서브힐러를 맡고 있는 슈라고 합니다. 제 한타의 장점은 힐과 딜과 이제 같이 할 수 있다는 장점. 제 생각에는 제 한타가 딜이 아주 세기 때문에 충분히 딜러를 대체해서 나올 수 있다고 생각합니다. 올 히어로 이제 전부 영웅들은 이제 5, DPI 5를 사용하고 있고 젠야타 같은 경우에는 3.1 낮게 쓰고 뭐 부조화 조화 이거 감도는 뭐 따로 건드리지 않고 조준선은 십자선을 써요. 십자선에 이거 가운데 점 없이 쓰고 상대편 설정은 그대로 이제 레드로 설정하고 이제 저희 팀은 이제 네온블루로 설정을 합니다. 네, 제가 이제 워밍업 하는 방법은 이제 보트들이랑 이제 헤드 연습, 이제 에임 연습을 위주로 하고 있고 이 사슬 게임 연습을 통해서 얻을 수 있는 장점은 일단 모든 캐릭터의 이제 히트박스를 이해할 수 있고 조금 더 이제 로드오그 같은 경우에 조금 더 머리가 크니까 킬수가 한 200킬, 100몇 킬 될 때까지 항상 하루에 한 20분, 30분씩 계속 에임 연습에 투자하고 있는 것 같아요. 일단 제 같은 경우에는 모아 쏘기보단 이제 좌클릭으로 이제 에임을 주로 쓰는 편이고 그다음에 모아 쏘기 같은 경우에는 상대방 무빙을 예측하거나 아니면 좀 이제 고체 배 탈 때 부조화가 좋은 점은 일단 상대방이 일단 부조화를 걸리면 조금 소극적인 플레이를 하게 돼요. 부조화를 걸면 이제 상대방이 벽 뒤에서도 보이는데 제한타 초월을 잘 쓰는 방법은 딱히 그렇게 설명을 못하겠지만 우리 팀이 많이 위험해 보일 때 아니면 상대방이 궁을 쓰려고 이제 눈치를 챌 때나 아니면 이제 내가 위험에 처했을 때 그럴 때 쓰는 게 많은 방법이라고 생각합니다. 제 게임셋 영상을 봐주셔서 정말 감사하고 조금 더 잘하는 제한타 유저가 되셨으면 좋겠습니다.
Shu continues to delete the other supports.
You've got Shu, who's looking like a star.
Welcome back. We're currently halfway through this series, and right now Shanghai Dragons kind of just coasting on through, looking very strong against the Guangzhou Charge, currently leading 2-0.
it's just a winning matchup in DPS versus DPS right now. And so, you know, for the Charge, maybe they have to play their weaknesses and run something like the Sombra Goats or 3-3. And I like that so far we're seeing Shanghai Dragons keep Youngjin in. Spoiler alert, will not be subbed out for this next map either, because that gives them the flexibility to run a strong Brigida if they need to play the mirror, which they have done well in the past. Not as well as their, you know, Pharah compositions or Pharah Widow, Sombra, etc. With Ding. But it's cool that they're understanding, like, what's the worst that could happen is we could be running a DPS comp, maybe get outclassed by 3-3 on some of these maps. Keep Youngjin in, keep that extra flexibility. You can also, again, swap to the McCree we've been mentioning a lot to deal with Nero's Pharah. And you can even run it blind in some cases. We're seeing a lot of teams do that right now.
Well, we'll be shifting over to Hollywood here to see if Guangzhou Charge can put a win on the board and avoid losing this series. Otherwise, Shanghai Dragons seeking that 3-0. You can see that Hollywood historically not the best map for them.
Yeah, they are winless on this map currently. Only 3 maps played so far on it. Not the many they have played this season.
You know, 4th time's the charm. That's what they always say, right?
Well, it's definitely a map that doesn't play towards the Pharah strengths as well as Numbani. So, Numbani A, Hollywood A, very different how you approach the defense. They will be on the attack first, so we'll see Ding take the blind shot, see the scatter arrow, then they will swap.
Okay, Youngjin going for the Doom Fist, and Ding will be going for the Pharah.
Well, Youngjin staying in for, you know, his flexibility, as we were saying, and this is one of those flexible heroes that not everyone can play, but Youngjin, well, famous for playing it back on Kongdu Panthera.
Waiting for his opportunity to push up onto that high ground here on the side. Good shield bash from Nero. Knocks Youngjin to the ground, but the follow-up from the Dragons is superior, so they come up with the kill. And now it's just going to be everybody getting beaten and battered around. Youngjin goes in, gets that uppercut, relying on that passive shielding. Try to keep him alive. Pushes forward towards Shoot. It's a lot of damage, but the block comes through. He will be able to stay alive. In the meantime, Shanghai Dragons are ticking up. Another uppercut forward onto the enemy Ana. Bio-nade. Holds him from pushing forward for a little bit longer, but he gets him with the seismic slam. Cuts him down to size, and that is a very fast cap for the Shanghai Dragons. 5.5 minutes in the time bank now.
And Youngjin just comes in, opens it up, causes that disruption. Pharah's there to help clean up the kills. Anyone who narrowly escapes the fist is going to get rocketed. And he can go swap now. They don't have to keep this. It's only really very powerful on A, where your opponent's fighting around choke points, always stairwells. He is considering keeping it, but he does eventually decide to go over to the Hog. And they're gonna run this super strange Roadhog for B on Hollywood. It's very difficult because the Hog can't hook someone that's above him when he doesn't have line of sight for the hook itself.
Yeah, no more Hook 1.0. Been gone for quite some time. Nero coming out on top of the Hanzo duel. Dangerously close there. Ding does manage to get that res off. Back to the fight, but Kolma, oh man, almost taken down. Barely ducks out. Keep his head safe.
In the Widow meta, in Contenders Korea, this is the map we saw the most Widowmaker on. And this is where Happy's career really took off. Probably why he found his way onto the Charge. Is playing this point right here.
Has that insight up, is trying to get the angle here and be almost taken down. EMP out from Hotba now though, after Gamsu gets eliminated. Ding will be taken down. Youngjin still hacked. Takes a breather in for a moment. Gets a little bit of healing in, but will still be eliminated in the end. Gamsu pulling the trigger on the charges here, will be swapping over onto the Winston.
I have some serious questions about what the Shanghai are running. We're going to take a look at this NB EMP again. Mistake here. But I have some serious questions about this. You know, how are you planning on dealing with the Widow here without any vertical movement? Are you running the Hog that can't hook anyone? I like this a little bit more. It's still going to be tough, though.
Oh, well, Mind straight in on top of him, and the Dragon Strike from Nero takes down both supports. Storm arrows in for Youngjin, and man, the newest, youngest member of the Guangzhou Charge. Having a bit of a pop-off.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place there. You've got the minefield on one side, the Dragon Strike on the other. You're going through your only approach angle versus this Widowmaker setup, so it's super easy to predict. The Guangzhou Charge scoop up the kills. They had such a great start on A, but it's almost as if they didn't predict Happy would run Widow here, and they didn't have a counter plan.
I mean, we remember, you know, Nero's debut when he turned 18, and the Hanzo was one of the most impressive things from him. And he's really reflecting that again here today.
Star players, the DPS on the charge that are making this so difficult for the Dragons. Although we talk about Youngjin's flexibility, the one piece he's missing is that he cannot play Genji well. And that's something they could decide to run versus this comp, but he can't run it.
Well, Nano on Gamsu, he's on the high ground. Now he's stranded as the Sleep Dart connects. Shu follows up onto Youngjin with that Bionate, taking him down. Sleep onto Rio, but he has got more than enough shielding and HP, so we'll be fine.
You'll need more than just a nano-boosted Winston to take the heads off of these Guangzhou charge members, get onto the sky, and knock the Widow off the roof. You're gonna need coordinated dive with the Genji, with the Winston and a D.Va together. Something like that is gonna give you a much better opportunity at eliminating this. The Sombra's not gonna do it for you. Where's the EMP gonna land? Where's the follow-up? You're gonna EMP, have Gamsu and Envy kill everyone? It's not gonna happen. This comp for the Dragons does not make sense against what they're facing, and they don't have the hero pool required. The one hole, the one piece missing for Youngjin, lack of Genji flexibility. You're feeling it right now. I mean, this isn't it.
Well, that and, you know, wanted to have Youngjin in for the Doomfist for point A, so don't have DM in for the Widowmaker for the next stretch of the map, so can't try to really out-snipe Happy at the moment. So he's basically got free reign. Minefield comes down, taken low. Rio taking just a little bit of damage here as that hack comes through, but still going to be healthy. Gamsu tries to survive. Primal Rage nearly online, jumps up top, a sliver of HP remaining. Dragon Strike through the wall. Looks to pick him up, almost finds Luffy and Envy there. And actually will get popped out of the mech as Hoppa pushes forward to go ahead and finish him off. Primal Rage is out from Gamsu, but you can see how much damage is being thrown down onto this Winston. Slivers of HP, and he'll just jump back up top and get finished off again.
Rally mistimed. EMP, worthless.
4 members hacked, but Envy already out of the mech, now just trying to dance around and survive long enough to pistol his way back into the mech. 5% left to go. Looks like he will be able to get it.
This is not a composition that deals well with what the Charge are doing. You know, you've asked a carpenter to diagnose your heart problems with this one. I mean, it couldn't be further off.
Okay, well, EMP through. Koma has the barrier ready to go. Hacks looking for the follow-up there. Dragon Strike rolls in. Gamsu going to be taken down and splits him away from the cart. Zing finished off as well as Nero comes up with 2 kills. Happy finds another one. Luffy loses his head in the middle of the coalescence. Envy popped out of the mech, and they're going to leave him. They want to stagger him as long as humanly possible.
This isn't even fair. This isn't even a real game.
10 seconds remaining.
Charge just crushing it.
Okay, so Koma hiding inside the saloon. Wants to get the tag, or maybe even the back cap. There's still a couple members playing behind. They look for it. They know that he's got to be nearby. Minefield dropped in. He will get taken down. Gamsu coming in from around the backside. Doesn't have the Dragons. Doesn't have the Primal Rage, rather. As Nero gets closer to the Dragon Strike, is what I mean to say. It's up close and personal here with Luffy. And he'll get taken down as he baits his way into the minefield. Envy's bomb finds nothing. They cannot tag it. Just in front of B is where the cart rests. Guangzhou Charge, a real chance of putting a map win here on the board.
Stellar DPS players on this roster are given terrain advantages, high ground. Shanghai Dragons have learned a lot about verticality. I have to say, after that fast A take here, absolutely nothing gained on B. Abysmal attack.
Well, really rough stuff. Let's see if Guangzhou can pick up the victory here if Shanghai pulls off a nice defense.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Dragon rages within me.
Welcome back. Getting ready for the Guangzhou Charge to go on the attack here. Just in front of point B is where they have to make it to get a win on the board and stop Shanghai from taking the series 3-0. Of course, though, guys, coming up next weekend, Bren versus DeFran. Widowmaker 1v1 Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on the Watchpoint pre-show. If you guys are going to be there live in the venue, make sure you arrive early to check that one out. And if you guys are watching from home, make sure you set your alarm so you're awake in time to see it.
Indeed, that will be Eastern time, by the way.
Yep.
Heading into this attack for the Charge, if they get any decent time bank on A, they're going to have a fantastic shot at bringing the series back and turning things around. Will be the Sombra Ana variation.
Extreme spy checking!
Yes.
He doesn't find anything.
He didn't just slip on his mouse there.
Yeah.
So, for the Dragons, they just have to be aware of Happy's positioning. He's really the only one who can burst them down at the moment. There's no Discord orb with this copy either. So it's just about whether Happy gets in there and hits the headshots or not. Nero's trying to open that up for him on the far as we speak, push them into position.
Oh, and that's just going to be a 2-for-1. Nero comes around, gets that double rocket hit. Both supports now gone. And much like we saw from Shanghai, it's seeming like perhaps Guangzhou Charge can just bust right through on the first push, but Shanghai Dragons still going to be looking to force them back. Second tick getting ready to come through. Happy getting up close and personal. And just to take down Youngjin, but Envy finds Hanfa. Dangerously low, and oh man, the flick shot onto the head. Goes ahead, gets rid of that Zarya. Happy going to be hacked out. Playing around here on the point, but no one's paying that much attention to him here at the moment. Dragon Strike available. Leap over to the side. Tosses that one straight to the cafe, and Koma's going to be taken down. Guangzhou with a sliver of HP. Tries to peel back, but Hanfa manages to find the kill, and now it's 5 minutes on the clock for Guangzhou to make it just in front of B.
There's a gaping void that I think everyone could feel right now because DM is on the bench. The DPS players of the Charge suddenly empowered, total control of the map. High ground is theirs, damage output insane. Coordination between Nero and Happy looks very coordinated in practice. You know, cohesive, I mean to say. But for the Dragons, they just don't have a good way to shut this down right now.
Up here onto the high ground from Guangzhou, forces the Charge back. Cart still slowly being brought up by Shu at the moment. This is just Guangzhou trying to create some space. EMP comes down, manages to find 2, Bionade onto 3. Barrage in from Nero, cleans up another 2 here as Koma and Guangzhou both get taken down, and this is just looking like a slaughter at the moment. Guangzhou Charge, very slow start in the series, but finding their stride here on Hollywood.
It's really hard to play Diva when there's a Hanzo on the other side, because if you put yourself in position to absorb rockets or barrages, you're going to get blown up and DMX'd so quickly by the Hanzo Storm arrows. There's only so much your defense matrix can absorb. But beyond all that, I feel like Envy has had a pretty lackluster performance on this Diva. Sombra as well this match.
Pile driver in, minefield out from Rio. Nanoed up into the back. Trying to hound down Youngjin here at the moment. Shield Bash greets him as he exits the saloon. EMP now coming through, catches 2 on the side of Guangzhou Charge. The Pharmacy going to be hacked out, but Happy dumps the Dragon Strike, manages to find Guangzhou. He's antied, so very low, but they cannot finish him off. The cart is still gliding forward. Drop down straight up into their faces again. Happy just playing so aggressively with this Hanzo. He is given free reign. And that is Guangzhou Charge coming up with a win here, now on the board and looking for that reverse sweep.
You called it free reign. Nero and Happy, the DPS duo, dominating the map. I think there's no world in which we do not see DM return for 4th and potentially last map here of Escort.
I mean, you didn't have to really raise some questions if that should happen. But we'll see what happens when we do come back for that potentially final map.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
charge.
Apagando las luces.
And welcome back. Guangzhou Charge able to take a win off of the Shanghai Dragons here with that victory on Hollywood. Looking very concise. Shanghai Dragons just seemingly not knowing how to play around the heroes that they normally play.
Youngjin is, you know, I saw a lot of people discussing this. Is he a hit slam player? Is he a projectile player? No, he plays McCree, he plays Doomfist, he plays Brigida. Those are his three main heroes. He has flexibility in other roles, but he does not play Genji, he does not play Widow. And those were the real heroes required to challenge the setup that the Charge had on Hollywood B. And we've seen other teams try to Widow in this meta, and then, you know, you see Haksal swap over to the Genji, jumps into the air, Dragon Blades, and it's all over, right? When you're missing those heroes, you look kind of lost on Hollywood B. We will have a substitution, surprise, surprise. DM will come back in, but he's coming in for Envy in this case.
So, you know, setting up for, of course, just continued triple DPS action here from the Shanghai Dragons. Of course, Envy, not the greatest map for him. Prior to that, was quite good, but pretty rough around the edges. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at Nero's stats on that Hanzo, and 0 deaths.
0 deaths, tons of burst damage, especially there on the attack of A, where he was able to get into that choke point, and he just obliterated everyone there, you know, with the help of his Pharah, and it just wasn't much of an answer. The Dragons needed more cohesion with their DPS, and we saw what this, you know, what Charge have prepared and what they are capable of, their DPS duo, and trio in some cases. We saw what they are capable of when given, you know, a lack of a Widowmaker player on the other side. It's easy to call out these players and say, wow, you know, Nero had a weak performance on the first map when you're facing off against what many are considered to be, and what we, I think, have to start discussing is the potentially best Widowmaker player in the world right now in DM.
Well, he's back in, and we're moving through to Gibraltar here for, as we said, maybe the last map of this set. Both teams tied up 1-3 in their records. So somebody going to be putting a win on the board for themselves. Guangzhou Charge, hoping that it's them looking to extend us to a 5th and final map. Try and pull off a reverse sweep would be our second one of the day.
Notice as soon as DM is back in the seat, it's in the driver's seat, the counter Widow is available. Charge just going to put Happy on Zarya. This is a point that's difficult to run, you know, a lot of defensive Widow on versus most teams, but they're just not even going to attempt the Pharah here. No Widow. And the Dragons will, of course, respond.
Oh, ding, hacked. Some very aggressive play comes out from the side of the Charge, but everybody manages to retreat safely. Jin's still playing forward. DM will be swapping over onto that Widowmaker. Not looking for the Hanzo action this time, it would seem, and Shu is going to be the first one to fall here on Gibraltar.
Well, this is a pretty rough spot for the Charge in terms of dealing with this Widowmaker. They have the same problems that Shanghai had previously on Hollywood. Look at how far forward Ding is playing, and the cart is rolling. And also, the Charge aren't building ult charge. Happy's at 20% right now during this moment.
And that's going to be a DMAC on Nero. Pokes his head out, rockets are flying in from Ding, and Youngjin's waiting. Gives him the punch, and that is him out of the mech. So
It's kind of a
really hard to contest here.
It's kind of a lose-lose situation. It really is.
Cart rolling forward, nearly makes its way in. Nano boost down onto Rio. Youngjin dives back through to actually wake him up. It seems like it doesn't matter much. Luffy will be taken down, but DM is back and he is clicking heads.
You know when Monty had that discussion about the Outlaws not running the mirror? This is what it might have looked like had they run DPS there. We'll never know. But this is what's happening in the charge. We can't beat DM in the Widow mirror. We can't beat Ding in the Pharah mirror. We're going to try to run Sombra Goats. And it's also not looking too practiced. They're not looking too great on it yet. Looks like their whole prep has been to try to run the Widow, the Hanzo, the Pharah here versus the Dragons. And they got outclassed. Now they're trying something else. And it is not working.
Yep.
In a parallel universe, you know, a similar situation to that Outlaws situation that everyone remembers so well.
You see, just trying to body block, get some extra energy. CM just holds this angle. Poison traps coming in. Hoppa would have loved to have been in the back farming ult right now, but he's unable to do so. Barrage out from Ding will get chewed up by that D-Matrix. So good blocks coming through from Nero. Position for that, but Youngjin finds the uppercut on Rio. Now Meteor strike in. Instant sleep, waiting for Youngjin, but now he lands in behind the barrier, steps back up, gets the D-Mech on the Nero. Hoppa's taken down. They managed to find Guangzhou, but it's still a 4-for-1 exchange, plus the res there for the Dragons as they steamroll their way through the hangar.
I mean, Youngjin, always known for his Doomfist on this map in particular, when no one else was playing it, and he pulls it out here again. He's got a great, you know, I don't want to say dual partner in Ding because that's most of the damage, but DM also has that extra threat. So it's triple threat of range damage from two sides and burst right in your face with the Doomfist.
Chara, take it down, double body shots coming through. Bomb into the back, unable to find a pick, and DM makes it out safely. Baby Diva gonna get punished, Youngjin making sure that he can't make it back in. Rio now gonna be taken down, and Charge just kinda have to hide inside.
This is, you know, Graviton Surge coming online, they've got the EMP, but I don't know if they're gonna be able to execute it.
Barrage zones him back for a little bit longer. EMP comes in and Ding will get taken down. Hanpa immediately killed off after the EMP gets used. Rio trying to get the kill on the TM, took him so low, but the sleep dart connects from Luffy. Shuts down that hope and dream, and now Koma's even pushing forward, pistoling Rio as he sleeps.
This isn't even fair.
Very rough tidings. The side of the Guangzhou charge, so they look to stabilize. Youngjin makes it out. Gets that Meteor strike, comes his way back down. Everybody able to avoid that one. Grab comes through, Guangzhou gonna be alone onto the cart. Rocket Punch comes in, Nero about to be D-mech'd, but Sound Barrier comes in to keep him alive. In the meantime, Guangzhou does get res back in, the cart continues to inch forward. Ding hacks sliver of HP as DM peels for everybody, takes down Chara, takes down Happy, and the cart will roll through. Shanghai Dragons making it look easy, really just a couple moments of stuttering near the end, but otherwise, it felt like the cart really never even stopped.
This is why I mentioned earlier, it feels like a lose-lose situation. You're running a composition that when, in those moments, especially on C, I mean, you've got no chance to beat that Widow positioning with DMs on the high ground. Zarya tries to grab, you saw how little value it had. They had to use every ultimate, they could do it. You've got no chance in those situations. And then your coordination is also weak on the Sombra Goats. They clearly weren't preparing to face the Dragons that way, but after getting crushed in the mirror, they decided to swap. And it didn't look clean there either. Only when the Dragons didn't have DM in the lineup and they were left free to run the strategy they prepared, the DPS players on Hollywood there, uncontested, did the Guangzhou Charge look alive in this series. If you want to run Happy on Widow here and you get crushed again, and you lose to DM, you lose to Ding, then, you know, your fans and everyone supporting you is going to say, well, I can't believe they ran the mirror. But if you don't run the mirror, it's, well, I can't believe they think Zarya could beat a Widow here. It's kind of lose-lose situation. They're getting outclassed on both sides.
The only player who's played Doomfist for more than 3 minutes. That's Youngjin.
That was his debut in Contenders Korea, was Doomfist on this map. That was the first time people knew who he was. And you're still playing a lot of Doomfist on this map, more than anyone else.
Well, for now, on the defense, we'll be on the Brigitte, but Ding and DM going to be on that Sombra Widow combo. And for now, Guangzhou Charge looking to match Nero and Chara, looking for the Holt setup. Doesn't happen. Kind of out of tune with that. Swaps will come through, moving back over to their usual picks. Nero gonna be back on that Diva. Yeah.
This is winnable against Widowmaker. This comp can work. You just have to get the cart into the car wash.
Oh, that doesn't help. Hacked out though. Mid grapple is DM, but the rest of the team is there to go ahead and capitalize on the kill. Rio gonna be taken down. Great coordination coming
It's kind of
through
a
here.
weird situation there too. Why was Shu poking his head out that angle? Is he trying to flank as Ana? Is he trying to, you know, turn this game around as, you know, damage support? You know, I have serious questions about what's happening here.
I assume it was to try to get the quick flip around the corner to get the sleep dart out, but
it's risky.
Instead, DM is just, you know, he's just quicker on that trigger, so.
It just feels like desperation at an ultimate level here for the charge.
Well, Baxter gets a wall shoot taken down again. Massive Bionade connects onto 3. And pretty much all of them gonna be taken down. Hotba escaping with that mech intact. To get the halt pull onto Happy. DM will take his head off for some extra stagger coming through.
Now, I wonder if the charge, now that they're in the same situation that they found themselves in, or the Dragons found themselves in Hollywood, will swap heroes, because this clearly isn't working. You can't dual DM here either, because here are the attacking Widow. They're not swapping now.
They're trying a different approach, but oh, as the EMP comes in, again, DM, time and time again, just shuts down Shu's approach.
Even better scoped critical at the moment than he had on our first map at 35 at the moment, and 11,000 damage per 10 minutes on the Widowmaker at the moment, so yeah. The charge might want to consider swapping to a more dive-oriented composition, but I don't think they prepared for that, and the hero pools don't match up unless Nero's on a hot pocket Genji we're not aware of.
Well, Nano in on to Rio as he jumps onto the high ground. Does have that Primal Rage available. He's trying to get rid of DM. Jumps in, Primal now gonna get popped. Per target, still taking a bit of damage. Manages to find Dink, batting him around. But DM says, okay, you know what? The monkey's off me. I'm just gonna go ahead and kill the Brigitte now.
I just wanted to watch a competitive match of Overwatch, Ilios.
Well, instead, we're getting a very nice highlight video.
Shanghai Dragons versus the fish in the barrel.
I mean, this entire match, like the maps that DM has been in, it's just a frag video for him.
Yes. I mean, it's not only him, too. There's so much extra pressure on the charge. There you go. DM is feeling it. That is for sure. You can see he's got that itchy scope finger.
Yep. And Bionade through. Several members on the side of the Guangzhou charge have their health bars in shambles. Shu barely getting protected by that defense matrix.
This is a tragedy.
It's a something.
Where are you going to grab on this one? It's going to be tough. You're hacked.
Yep, and slept. Nano hit on Rio. Here onto the high ground. Bubble helps protect him for a little bit longer. Chara, one more tag would have finished him off. Unable to find that hit. They take down Dink.
Okay.
That is a boon here for them at least.
Winnable.
But if he can be pushed back, DM eliminated with that infrasight up. Guangzhou charge. Finally in a winnable situation here for this push as they take down Guangzhou as well. And with those kills, it seems like the Shanghai Dragon's going to have to concede the first point. DM actually conceding the Widowmaker. Will be moving over onto the Zarya.
You can't run Widowmaker very well on B of this map against what the Charge are running, especially with Winston, because you don't have a lot of sight lines. He will have an opportunity to swap back to it on C should the Charge get there, and I think there's a real chance they will now that they've taken the momentum away and have an ult advantage. Happy is the second grab now versus DM, who's just now swapped. So they're going to play back here, they're going to play safe, try to take defensive fights at the moment to build those ultimates.
Bionade finds Luffy. Bubbles forward here is Happy. Looks for a setup with that Graviton Surge. Guangzhou getting right up into their bases. It's half an Earth Shatter ready to go in a very short amount of time. Dink nearly with the EMP, just playing this one out patiently. Guangzhou's dropping down. He's by himself, the stuns come through. They capitalize, just not enough protection here. Young should have been too late to try to arrive and offer him up that armor pack.
They have such a massive ult lead here, and if they can counter the EMP with this upcoming sound barrier, the Charge should be on point to get B with no problems.
EMP's out, manages to find 3, but the sound barrier from Chara is looking good. Ding has to jump back for threat of his own life, and Luffy's going to be taken down. DM, medium energy here, throws in that Graviton Surge. Char gonna disappear now. Happy taken down before he can use a grab of his own. Hoppa with a bomb, unable to find a pick. He hits the ground from the Earth Shatter. Trying to make it back into the back, trying to find a safe spot to be able to do so, but they're not gonna allow it. We'll be able to take him down and just 3 meters away from the finish here on B. Guangzhou Charge will lose control of the cart.
That's massive. Great grab there by DM, and picking off Happy before he could counter grab is what turned this around. Luffy swaps over to the Ana here, or excuse me, to the Zenyatta here now. He just wants to have that extra Discord damage for these fights. The Transcendent's obviously quite nice as well, but kind of a safer pick here given the range control they have of high ground right now. This is tough for the Charge to even get into position to grab now versus this high ground setup.
Well, Hoppa's in the back coma, just making sure that he cannot glide that cart through. Good split coming in, just means that if the Shanghai Dragons need to, they immediately jump back down towards the cart.
They're making a run for it.
And they push their way over, get a meter away. Coma in onto the cart, shield bash taken down. Hoppa finds a kill. Now Guangzhou getting juggled around, the grab comes through. Youngjin pulled in as well. Still playing forward, shield raised. Trying to stay up here onto the cart. The EMP comes in, catches all 6 members on the side of the Charge, and Rio's gonna be the first one to fall. They need a lot more than that if they want to stop this push here. Youngjin gets a bubble, barely managing to stay alive, nearly has the rally up. Char with a sliver of HP, manages to survive. Coma and DM both gonna be taken down, but now they trade back. No supports available for the Guangzhou Charge, but the cart barely inches in.
$1 million
a minute
question.
and a half now, back on the clock.
Well, I was gonna say $1 million question. Does Happy swap to Widow here for C? But they lose control of the cart, so he can't. He won't be able to get to that perch on the top right side because they don't have full control over this. They obviously have spawn advantage, but he won't be able to get there easily right now, so he has to stick with this. Zarya could have had an opportunity to turn this on its head with the Widow alone. We're already at a 3-minute deficit, by the way.
EMP comes in, manages to find just Coma and Guangzhou. That hat coming through. Shatter gets dropped. They weren't paying attention, but a huge boop goes into the side of Rio. Makes sure that he cannot get that pin, and DM is there to capitalize on top of those kills.
Huge play by
that
Coma.
front line.
Coma's making sure that that was low impact. And I mean, it's just a cleanup from here. They did bait out the Trance in that last fight. They've got another grab coming up here in just a moment.
Sound barrier will be available, and Hotba is only at 37% for that EMP, so the shielding will stick.
Got to block the barrier somehow, some way. First, they're going to have to hit their own sound barrier. Yep. There's a support cam.
You can see right there, hiding inside the hangar.
Ding looking for him, though.
There's a hand drops that one. The beat comes in from around the corner. Shatter coming down. Looking for the hits here. Grab in, now Guangzhou going lower and lower, trying to stay alive, and it just cannot do it. Char manages to find a double kill. Clean up here for the Guangzhou Charge, only losing out on a Nero. Nearly a team wipe in their favor. Overtime push coming through, however.
Look at how ult efficient it was. It was a slaughter. And now the Guangzhou Charge opportunity here to finish this map. It's going to be close. EMP is going to be how they close it out.
EMP gonna be dumped in, that catches 4. Guangzhou DM now taking down the cart, still advancing, no one able to push close enough to try to contest this one. Luffy nearly has that Transcendence, needs it just a tag. Youngjin makes his way over, instantly gets antied. Luffy pops that Transcendence, but it's not gonna last very long. It's just he and Coma against the world. The hack comes in, he can't fade out. The cart will roll through in overtime.
Very close call for the Charge. After what was a disastrous point A, they roll the cart through, take a few critical team fights on B, and what a miracle run it is. They keep the hope alive. It's a sliver, it's a tiny one, but there's still a shot.
4:52 to 1 minute. Let's see what Guangzhou Charge can get done when we come back for OT. And here we go. Shanghai Dragons nearly 5 times the time bank of the Guangzhou Charge after they get that minute bump up here for Gibraltar. Guangzhou, they have to do an immense amount with extremely little.
It seems hopeless, but I implore everyone to remember what they were just able to accomplish with the near overtime take on A, very close call on B, and then a narrow finish on C. Anything is possible,
but
they've got massive disadvantages, and this is where they struggled most versus DM's Widow.
Exactly, I was gonna say, we're back over to point A. DM with the Widowmaker, he's got that range, he's got that verticality coming through. Push up here onto the high ground, Bionade meets 3, and Chara is the first one to fall. Shu barely staying alive, about half HP.
Will they change it up, you know? I mean, you've only got 30 seconds left. You're not building the grab. I can tell you that right now.
And, well, hot buff gonna be taken out of the mech. Dink says, you know what, just gonna leave him. Cool.
Number bullies are the worst.
Yep, leaves him to his own devices. Rio, Bionaded again, just cannot escape, taken down. DM drops over, finds Hotba, finds Happy. Youngjin there for the assist. Rio's got to swap over onto the Wrecking Ball just to try and touch. Pushing his way through, gets booped away. Can they get there? Nero and Chara barely tag in. Chara right now slowly pushing the cart. Seems like they are going to be aware of this, especially now that Hotba has dropped down. It's popped out of the mech, and that'll just be the cleanup. A sliver of HP remaining for the Lucio. They get the kills, and that's as far as it goes. The underpass, Guangzhou charge.
Now,
looking at the defense of a lifetime if they could pull this off.
You've got to do something crazy here as the Guangzhou charge. I'm talking about Orisa, Symmetra, Torbjorn, or something even crazier. Try to challenge DM on the Widow. Happy pulling it out.
I'm, had a couple moments, but I just don't know if he's going to go for it.
You've got no choice. If they roll out of this point with Zarya, Sombra Goats, I mean, you've put the white flag up at that point. It is not going to work against a 452 time make. You need something crazy. You need some ability to dominate. Happy hasn't locked in his hero yet, but there goes the Zarya. And I can't say I have any faith that this will work. If you want to really smash a time bank, you've got to do something better than give them a composition they could easily, as attackers, walk back and mirror, and then hope for one better ult fight on.
Well, looks like Youngjin just getting aboard that Bastion train here. Let's get set up on that cart. And I mean, the crossfire, that'll be coming through. Arrows from one angle, rockets from above, and then that Bastion just absolutely melting everybody else.
I don't...
Okay, well,
okay. I was going to say, I don't think they're actually going to run that, but they could have had, it been something like a bunker comp setup, but...
I mean, given the amount of time that they have here.
Yes, exactly.
Gamsu going for the Holt, but still going to be sticking through with the Orisa. While Ding scouts forward on that Pharah.
This is all on Shu right now. He's the best person to shut this down. He's the only person who really can. Sleep darts, left
Rio is already going to be eliminated. Luffy comes up with the kill. Seismic slam in, uppercut, Happy. Well, delivered his corpse back to his teammates up there on that high ground. Nero going to be taken down now. Rio again, already feeling the pressure, has to swap over onto the Wrecking Ball, but can anyone tag? No, they cannot. And Shanghai Dragons glide through to victory. 3-1 here in the end as they close out Watchpoint Gibraltar.
DM exudes confidence on the Widow, the Hanzo, the Pharah, everything we see him on. And he is just too much for the charge. They will not match him in Widow v Widow. They will not match the Pharah. They will try to run the Zarya and get outclassed anyways. 4 one-sided maps. The map that the Shanghai Dragons lost, were crushed in, was without him. Right now in a matchup like this, you need him. Feels like it's just a straight-up skill mismatch. It's as if 2 characters are at different levels, a level 60 versus a level 40 here. The Dragons were just a bit too mechanically advanced for the charge. The charge were not willing to mirror. And I mean, it goes back to what I said, this is kind of a theoretical possibility as to what could have happened back in that Houston match, when you don't match the mirror because you're getting outclassed, sometimes you just get outclassed anyways.
Well, overall, fantastic performances from the Shanghai Dragons. But guys, we got Danny Lim standing by on the floor with Envy.
Thanks, guys. I got Envy from Shanghai Dragons right here. Congratulations on your victory. Now, this is your first ever victory after joining the Shanghai Dragons. So, Envy, my question is pretty simple. How are you feeling? 이제 상하이 팀으로 이적 이후 엔비 선수의 첫 번째 승리입니다. 소감 말씀 부탁드릴게요.
그때 제가 발리언트 전에 쟁탈 한번 나왔었는데 그때 제가 나와서 잘 못해가지고 그 그날 그 진 게 저 때문인 것 같아서 좀 많이 안 좋았는데 오늘 나와서 좀 이겨서 기분 좋은 것 같아요.
The match against Valiant, I got to play once in the control map, the first map, but I feel like we lost to Valiant because I didn't perform as well as I could, so I felt bad. But today, just winning this match means a lot, and it feels good to beat the Guangzhou Charge. Alrighty, I feel like this is pretty important as well. You guys beat the Guangzhou Charge today, but you guys are going against them again in Atlanta. So, Envy, do you have any message for the opponent that you guys just defeated and will probably go again in Atlanta? 오늘 광주 팀을 이긴 했지만은 또 한 번 리매치가 있어요. 아틀란타에서. 광주 팀에게 한 말씀 부탁드릴게요.
이제 광주가 제가 컨텐더스 있을 때 메타 애들이 좀 많이 소속해 있는 그 팀인데 오늘 좀 쉽게 생각했다가 할리우드에서 실수를 좀 많이 해서 좀 4대 0으로 못 이겼는데 다음에 만나면 더 쉽게 이길 것 같아요.
잠시만요. 메타 뭐?
벨리움.
메타 벨리움. 거기서 있었던 사람들이 많이 있어서. Alrighty. So the Guangzhou team is really comprised of people that I know in contenders, Metabellium. So just going into the match, I thought that it was going to be easy, but I think sorry guys, let me rephrase that one more time. Okay. So contenders, I saw them, Metabellium, they're all Guangzhou Charge. I thought that was going to be easier, but it wasn't. So we could have defeated them 4-0, but we couldn't. So in Atlanta, we're going to defeat you 4-0. There you go. I'm sorry about that, MV. Thank you so much. Congratulations and good luck in Atlanta. Wolf and Achilles, back to you.
Thank you very much, Danny. So yeah, gonna be looking for a cleaner victory next time out, it would seem. But look at the Shanghai Dragons up there, sitting pretty in the top 4.
Two Chinese teams in top 4, Spark and Dragons, in two completely diverging playstyles. Spark staying mostly with traditional 3-3, a little bit of Sombra Goats. Dragons, all about the new meta, the Pharah, the Widow. What an exciting playoffs we've got coming up in just a few weeks.
Absolutely, we're still not even settled on all of the teams that could be there. Fusion, Outlaws, still in the running. I mean, Charge and Chengdu still in it. But guys, player of the match presented by Omen by HP. Of course it's gonna be DM. The only map they lost was when he was subbed out.
I mean, he just absolutely crushed, maintaining, I believe, throughout the entire match, at least 32% scoped critical accuracy at all times. I mean, it's insane. He just dominated Happy so much on the first map, and then obviously parts of the third, that they were unwilling to run Widowmaker. He played so much better in that matchup that he boomed the Guangzhou Charge out of their ability to play the comps they prepared. Average scope critical hit 29, so that was 3 off there, but insane play on this Widow. Potentially best Widowmaker player in the world. Maybe the playoffs will give us that answer.
I mean, 44 eliminations, 32 of those are final blows of his, so you know how many people he is taking out of the fights single-handedly. A respectable amount of damage done, as well as a Widowmaker player. So DM truly one of the greats. But guys, that's it for the day of matches. But of course, as always, we have the Watchpoint post-show coming up, so make sure you stay tuned as we break down all of the games.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota, official North American partner of the Overwatch League. Toyota, let's go places.
What's up, dude? Remember when we used to carpool to LAN parties?
Dude, we've come so far. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some Overwatch.